Back in the days when I was employed at the bank, it was actually very difficult for me to think that you can actually make 10,000 Rand or even more from anything else other than being employed. And this was kind of like a mental blocker in my space, because everything that I knew actually was just about that for you to be making money, you need to be employed or you need to own a business. However, I started off playing off in the real estate space, and particularly in the property rental space, where I earn now passive income. And in this short video here that I'm going to jump into, I'm going to show you how you can actually make, on one property, you can make passive income of more than 10 grand. I think that's amazing. I am the view that anyone can do it if you want. Boom, boom, boom. How's it going? How's it going? Welcome aboard. It is your boy, TJ, Taurai Jack from M5 Property Addicts. If you are never been here before, this is what we do. We talk about anything and everything around real estate in Johannesburg, South Africa, Durban, Cape Town, Pretoria, Bloemfontein. Yay! And it is good to having you around. If you've never been here, well, like I did say, we are here about real estate and property, particularly more in the rental space, because we believe so much in passive income, and that passive income comes through from our rental properties. And if this is your second, third, fourth, 100th time, and if you haven't subscribed, this is the time that you need to smash that button. But boom, welcome aboard. It's good to having you around again. Hey, I want to speak to you guys about a property one property that gave us 10,000 Rand. Yes, let me say it again. I'm going to say it in slow motion. 10,000 Rand in passive income. Yes, yes, yes. And when I was employed, I didn't think this is possible. I had my own mental blockers. Like I couldn't see that happening. Like, because I was employed and my entire time was consumed with working, I could not think of other possibilities or other possible ways where you can be making income. And this is why I've done this video, actually, for you to actually see you could be in an employment somewhere. And by the way, I have had many friends who are actually working in the banking. Remember, I used to work at the bank, right? So I've got many friends that are in the banking system. And at the moment, most people that work at the bank, they even get what is called staff rates. So staff rates kind of like slashes an additional 2 to 3% on their bonds. So if they are just going to buy a property, any property, they are going to be cash flowing from day number one, because obviously of that benefit. But you know, each bank comes through with its own regulations in terms of that benefit. You know, so for some companies, for some banks, it's like kind of like, yeah, go out, and for some it's like, yeah, you need to have one coastal, one like maybe 4, and that's the limit, that kind of thing. But it doesn't matter, right? We're talking about here how you can actually make 10,000 Rand. And I'm showing you that you can actually make 10,000 Rand on one property. This is not multiple properties. This is one property. And I want to show you actually how I turned around my thinking when I was employed, right? So like this journey started for me when I was employed. So, and I'm wanting to speak to you because I know that you're employed somewhere, right? And you're trying to think, how best can you make 10 grand? How best can you make 2 grand? By the way, I have done another video in which you can actually go and check out. And if you're thinking 10 grand is a lot of money, whoo! So go and check out the 2 grand, and you can see what are some of the things that you can do in the real estate space for you to be banking 2 grand. Start small, learn fast, grow fast. That's the thing, right? So it is possible for you to make 10 grand. It's very much possible on one property. So I want to stress the fact that there's a couple of things that you need to know or that you need to do upfront before you actually lend or you bank the 10 grand. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to speak to you about is that in whatever sphere of investment that you're going to be jumping in, and for me it's property, this is what I enjoy doing. For me, I am of the view that whatever you're going to jumping in, you need to be educated around it. You need to be educated around it. So before you actually just go and start buying, whether you're working at the bank or whether you're working wherever you're working, and you're thinking, oh, that TJ guy said, yes, I can go and buy a property and make 10 grand. Right, let me go for it. Hold your horse, right? Oh, the thing that you need to be doing first is get some education. It is extremely important. I can't stress that enough. I have been in this game. It's now plus, we're just going to be hitting like 5 years on a serious note. And before that, when I was doing property, I bought so many properties before I started doing property investment, and none of them were cash flowing. The one actually I almost lost around about 5 million in it, and because it was just a bad deal that I went into without knowing what I knew, without the education that I knew. Now I want to stress the fact that when you are starting to get educated, and like I said, this is not about property investment, it's a fundamental process that you can actually take across board in anything that you want to put your money into. So the first one is education. How then do you get educated? The first one is that you can get educated by things like podcasts, right? So you can listen to other people that are doing this. Obviously, the more you listen, the more you are going to gain some insights. Oh, these guys are in Cape Town, they do Airbnb. Oh, why? Because there's obviously there's an influx of foreigners coming through there who are looking for accommodation. Oh, okay, what about in Johannesburg? Hey, there's a lot of influx people that come from maybe out of Africa, out of the country for business purposes. So the type of Airbnb that you're going to be doing in Cape Town versus you're going to be doing in Joburg, the kind of like house that you're going to have, it's slightly different in terms of the look and feel and things like that for you to catch or to attract someone who's a young professional or a professional person coming from overseas, coming to do business, and someone else who's coming in to have it a nice time in Cape Town, and they are there in your property. You see the difference, okay? And you can learn this for free. All you need to be doing is dedicate your time, find the right podcast, and you can do it. Number two, there's YouTube, right? Like here you found me. I've got so many videos, you can learn from them and you can start getting your feet wet, right? None of this though is structured in a way that it gives you the step by step. So it's just like random videos, and so it's kind of like you are eating from that plate, eating from that plate, eating from that plate. So guess what? Does it make you healthy? It gets you full, yeah, but it doesn't really make you healthy. So you're kind of like just eating a whole lot of junk from different places. What you need is actually a proper school where you can actually go in and learn, and there is a process behind it. And that I've got on M5 Property Varsity, but I'm not here to promote my school. I am just telling you that you need to go and get educated. All right. The third part, or should I say the third one, which you can do to also learn, is that you can read books. I read like an average 2 books in a month, and when I'm reading all of these books, I want to read and understand at least 5 things out of that book, and I want to implement 3 at minimum, right? So I want to read at least a book a month, 1 book a month, and out of that 1 book a month, and I want to be able to say, in this book, what are the 5 things that I'm learning? So I could learn like 20, 30, whatever it is, but what are the 5 things that I'm learning out of this books? And out of it, what are the 3 things that I can implement, right? And obviously that makes me a better person from last month to now, to things like that, because it is self-improvement. And that's what I'm talking about. Personal development, it is key. The other one you can do is you can attend a whole lot of seminars. There is online seminars that you can attend. There is in-person seminars that you can also attend. Some are paid ones, some are not. Like, the whole point here is educate yourself. However, don't be an information junkie once you're at it. Don't be an information junkie. I always meet a whole lot of people out there, and I'm seeing them at seminars. I go on. I'm on social media for this group and that group. I'm seeing them. But when I look at them and I ask them, so have you bought a property yet? No. I am still checking out. What are you checking out? It's been 3 years, right? In those 3 years, I've bought like 14 buildings. So what the hell, you know? So all I'm just saying is that get the education, right? It is good to get knowledge. Apply it. When you have applied it, so you're taking action now, that's when you're going to see the results. That's when you're going to bank the 10 grand, right? Right? Okay, good stuff. So that's the first one. So education is key, and I can't stress this enough, guys. I can go on and on about it. By no means am I saying that I'm a guru at it. I am still a student, and I think I'm going to be a student for life. And that's what I have devoted myself to. Number 2 is you should know where to look, right? Now, that point there is the most crucial point after the education. And I've put it in order here so that you can see what's important than the other. So the fact that South Africa is huge, right? And this can happen anywhere else in the world, right? You might know, or you might have the education that you need, but you're like now thinking, you're coming out of that class and you're thinking, where do I start? Where can I get a profitable property? The thing is that you want to know where to go and look. And where to go and look is like extremely vast. By the way, I have done another video on our YouTube channel, and that video I've actually literally mentioned it. I've actually literally labeled it where to find the best investment. So there is a process behind it in which you can actually find good deals. So where do you look? So the number one thing of where can you find this deal or where can you look is that your eye needs to be trained. It's about you. Your eye needs to be trained to spot the opportunity, all right? When you spot the opportunity, sometimes the opportunity is rough. What do I mean? It's in dirt. What do I mean by that? Nobody is seeing that it is an opportunity. It's actually maybe a dilapidated building. Maybe it's a house that's just been left idle. Maybe it's a house that's just so much big, and out of the bigness, there's like just people are just staying there, and you are seeing an opportunity on how you can maybe subdivide it. Maybe it's a big house, well run, and it's neat, but it's sitting on 4,000 squares in one house, and they're using the whole of the 3,000 squares as a field, an open field. Next door, there's a complex. Behind it is a complex, and they're utilizing most of the land as maybe for recreational purposes, you know. So, but the house is now on sale. So when you see such kind of properties, you already know that if you've been trained and if your eye is also trained. So from your education, you can now see, oh, maybe I can also do a development here, right? Because you're seeing the opportunities. But if you're not, you're going to walk away and say, hey, who's going to buy that property? That property is so huge. And that garden, 3,000 squares, who's going to be doing what? So already you see, your mind is blocked, right? You're not seeing the opportunities. But there I come exactly behind you. I'm going to say that's a good deal. I'm going to say for $1 million, oh yes, I'll get it. I'm not even negotiating. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you $1 million. Why? Because I'm seeing the upside of the opportunity. And by the way, I want to stress the fact that when you are seeing opportunities, it's not one of those things where you kind of like see an opportunity, like you wake up, you go to school, and you're like, my mind is trained, now I can see it. No, it comes with time. You can go through it after a long time, and if you're not practicing identifying opportunities, it fades away after you went to school. So when you go to school, right, you need to start practicing. The more you practice, the more you're going to spot these deals easier. If you're not practicing, you're not going to see them easier. That's the bottom line. The third one that I want to jump into is that you need to put in the work. Oh, TJ, do I have to work? Yes, I am sorry. 10 grand doesn't just come. Like, for instance, you know, I'm always making reference to say that, you know, for many people, like if I was still employed, potentially I could be getting like, let's say 50 grand a month or something like that, right? And say, hypothetically speaking, right? And earning like R1 billion, I always want to speak about 50,000 and 1 million a year, right? So having, it's an easy number to talk to, right? So having said that, right, if you're going to work and they're paying you 50 grand, and you got employees that are reporting to you, and some of them are getting paid 10 grand, they're still at work. So what gives you the benefit of the doubt that you can have passive 10 grand for free without work? Aye. That's what I want to talk to you about. You have to put in the work. And this is where a lot of us actually then kind of like fall off the radar. Yeah, it's too much for us. We identify the opportunities and we're like, whoo, it's a lot of work. But hold on, what I'm going to do here is I am going to take you into a video of a property where we're banking 10 grand plus, right? It's just over 10 grand in terms of passive income. And I'm going to show you the amount of work that was done on that property. So for the next 2 minutes, I'm just going to show you a short clip and having to see the guys working in there. I was not physically doing the work, but I had to plan, I had to look for the money. Someone else who's a contractor came in and they started doing the work. And in this short clip that's coming through now, I'm going to show you the exact property where I'm making 10 grand. And I'm going to tell you the numbers of that deal so that you can see that when I'm saying put in the work, it means that you have to, and I'm saying this, I'm going to say it the third time again, you have to make sure that you put in the work. If you don't put in the work, guess what? There are no results that comes into it. It's like anything in life. If you're not putting the effort, the results ain't going to come. So having said that, let's jump into it.
I am taking you there. That's why I'm so excited, because at least you can see the final product, right? And let me just go through the numbers again one more time, you know, whilst we are on the road. And we bought this property mixed use, right? It used to be an industrial of sort, and we bought it for 700, and we put in an additional 400,000 on it, and on that 400,000, so we were in for what, 1.1 we say, right? And we started tenanting it out, and 100% rental income that's been coming off that place has been round about 40,000 for the last, what, maybe 6 months now. And we recently just went through to the bank, and the bank has just given us just below 2 million on it. So this has been one of those great deals that we have done so far. Okay, how's it going? So on my far right, we're going to put a screen there all the way to the doors, and then right in the middle here we're going to put another screen. We're going to remove all of those stickers. Okay, now we're inside. It's a bit of rubble here. Okay, so this is, the guys have already started, they removed that roof there. So we're going to go in here. This is a shop number 1. So they're busy with the ceilings. So they were patching up the wall along room number 1. We're going to tile and plaster and floor all over here. Right, and that's room 1. Room 2, the same thing. Okay, this is room 1, 2, 3. And then this is room 4. Okay, so we're going to break up here, toilet and shower in here, and then we had a crack, some form of a crack there, but we've solved it now. So the brickworks, we had a bit of a crack there, but we've solved that as well. Okay, on the corner there we're going to put in a kitchenette. You can see where right ahead. Got a big team here. It's about 12 people that are here already. Okay, we're going inside. This is going to be one unit on its own. The front, as you can see on my far left, this is an office where the guys are doing real estate, and in between there is the black gate, and that black gate, that's what we use for the residential guys. Here with this door, this is the office, and the guys, that's the office that they use for real estate. And if I go back at the back here, these used to be offices back in the days, but we've then made them all rooms. So this room here, room number 1, number 2, number 3, they all share their own bathing room, which is on that side there into my view. And if I come back here, this used to be all offices, but we have turned them into one bed, a bachelor-like sort of, and then it's got a kitchenette and a toilet in there, and the guys are able to utilize them. Coming through to this side of the house, and that's a house on its own. In here on the left, how's it, Chief? Sure. Coming through here, this is another unit.
Boom, you did see that. That's a hell of a deal going on there, isn't it? But I want to give you an example. So we bought this property actually out in an area that is called Boksburg. I've spoken about this deal a number of times. Right now, the interest rate is right below in a single digit. You all know that COVID has been great. Woohoo! Right. But I want to stress the fact that I bought this property for 700,000. For 700,000. I found it online, like on the internet, like many people. And I went through, and when I saw it there, I could identify the opportunity that there was. It used to be just like a normal warehouse, right? But when I got there, I realized that, hey, in this street here, there's lots of traffic. Maybe let me put in some shops. So I put in 3 retail shops in front, okay? And then at the back of it, I realized that there's actually some offices, and I realized that it's very close to residential. So potentially, I could also make this some residential. I did some homework and I realized that I can, right? So out of that, I went on and I plowed in 400,000, right? 400,000. And we worked through that in that deal, and we got our contractor working in there. And out of it, actually, we started renting out the property for just below 40,000 rand. So we're all in here, ladies and gentlemen, for 1.1 million. For 1.1 million. And the rental income is sitting on 40,000 rand. Yeah, it can happen right here in Zanzi. It can happen. There are so many deals like those out there. So many of my boys, they reach out to me and then they tell me, hey, TJ, this is the deal that I'm cracking. I'm like, this is a good deal, right? So you need to be prepared to do the work, right? So now you're in it now. You're in it and you're managing that property. And I want to speak back to the numbers. So we bought it cash, an installment sale. For an installment sale is a subject on its own. Good option of buying properties. If you don't know what it is, go through to M5 Property Varsity, subscribe, get a course that's called installment sale. You can literally buy a property with no banks involved. I'm in it. I use the installment sales all the time. Nonetheless, let's come back to this property. I bought it for 700. We renovated for 400,000. We're all in now for 1.1 million. Right. I got the bank involved again in that deal. Right. I got the bank involved and they gave us 1.5 million. Hey, I know you can't comprehend it right now. It's okay. But the reality is, from my 40,000 rental income, I was now able to service my 1.5 bond, and that's how I'm making cha-ching, just over 10 grand right now in this COVID time. The passive income that's coming from there. However, I want to stress the fact that buying the process was an event, and I want to stress that fact. Buying the property was an event. Managing the property is a process. I remember when we started off, we had a guy who had an office in the shop, in one of the shops in the front, and he started being a delinquent guy, and we had to evict him. Right? It's easier to manage and evict guys that are on the commercial side. It's very different from the residential, where you need to go through hoops and what processes. You don't pay, you're out. It's business to business, right? So we had that guy. We've got a guy who owns like a shop, sort of like, and in that shop, this guy, like, he is the bloodline for the whole property, because a lot of traffic comes through and it spills into the next shop, and it spills into the next shop. The guys that are staying in the back of the property in the residential part, they actually come into this guy, I call him Ali. They actually come into this property to Ali to buy a whole lot of groceries. And you're always seeing Ali's shop is pumping, Ali's shop is pumping. So it is a process again to manage someone like that. But the reality of it is that, or what I just wanted to stress there, I bought the property once, it was an event, and the managing process, it's still happening month in, month out. We've had plumbing issues. We've had roof leak issues. We have had to go and repaint. We have had a funeral on that place. We have had lots and lots of things that happen on that property. The access gate is not working. It needs to be sorted. We have had, like, I can go on and on and on. That is why which is important for you to get someone else who knows how to manage properties, because they can manage it better, right? So I want to stress the fact that it is easy to make 10 grand. On this property here, you saw the work that we had to put in. We've got a rental income of just below 40 grand on it, and we're paying off the bank at 1.5. You can do the maths, right? And if you take in a consideration, obviously, of expenses, that's how you can see that we're making 10 grand. So it is one property. You might not need 10, you might not need 15 properties. For some of you, you just need one property, and that one property can save you. In my last point of closing out, the question that I want to ask of you is, what can 10 grand do for you? What can 10,000 rand do for you? Can it buy you a car that you want? Yeah. So which means that you're buying a car and that money is not coming out of your pocket. It is an asset that's paying off for the lifestyle that you want. What car is it? I don't know. Can you go on holiday? 10 grand a month? How much is that over 12 months? 120,000. Could that be a holiday with your family? I don't know. So you see the possibilities now of this 10 grand, what it can do for you is pretty endless. And by the way, I got no money in that deal. Zero money, zero. All of my money came back. Go back to rewind the video a little bit and see why I'm saying that. Because remember, we were all in for 1.1 and the bank gave us 1.5. So which means that this is all what we call infinity returns. I'm going to explain infinity returns in my next couple of videos, but for today, I just wanted to make sure that it is possible for you to bank 10 grand and above. My name is TJ. It's been great hanging out with you. And don't forget to subscribe, add in some comments, ask some questions around this. I generally come back to all of my videos and just to see and respond. So I do respond. If you've got a question, something was not clear to you, let me know and I'll be able to respond it to you. Hey, it's been good. Check you out later. God bless. Goodbye.